Welcome to my Balloon Twisting for Beginners series, where I teach you how to twist balloons like a pro. Hi, I'm Melanie from Balloon Artworks in Derbyshire in the UK. Today I'm going to show you how to make a balloon daisy, and we're going to be using two 260s for this design, plus just the tip of another 260. So take a 260, I'm using yellow. Make sure your balloon is in the down position, and we're going to inflate, with 6 strokes of the hand pump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? And then take the balloon off the hand pump straight away. And that prevents your balloon deflating by losing air through the hand pump. So if you're finding that your balloons are a lot softer than you expected, or they're not quite as long as you needed them to be, the chances are you're not taking them off the hand pump quickly enough. And if you're also finding that when you have inflated your balloons, they're popping very quickly, there could be a number of reasons for this. It could be that the balloons are old, or they haven't been stored correctly. And these balloons do biodegrade, so it's important that we store them out of direct sunlight and in a watertight container. So if you've got something like a Ziploc bag, transfer your balloons into the Ziploc bag and zip them up and keep them in a drawer somewhere or in a cupboard, and that will prolong their life. So these balloons don't last forever, but they can last quite a few years if they are stored correctly. If your balloons are popping and you're storing them correctly, your balloons are still popping, it could be there's just a little bit too much pressure in this first part of the balloon. And so to relieve that, we just let a little bit of air out. So I'm just slightly deflating the balloon, just slightly, and put a twist in the balloon here, and then tie. If you want to recap on the tying technique, check out lesson 1 where I showed you how to make a pirate sword, and I'll leave a link in the description below. So we've got a balloon with a tail of about 5 fingers or so, and I'm going to show you how to make a 5-petal daisy flower, okay? And we're using techniques that you've already learned. So techniques that I'm using to make this daisy, they're the same techniques we use for the pirate sword for making a loop. So just fold your balloon over, and I always like to take hold of that knot and nozzle, grab hold of it between my thumb and forefinger and hold on to that. And then I'm measuring the bubble that I'm going to make, the loop that I'm going to make. And I'm aiming for loops of about 4 fingers. So at that point, I'm twisting a bubble, and I'm still holding on to that knot of nozzle, which I pass through the centre of that loop. Okay, so that means that's going to be very difficult for that just to unravel. Okay, and then make another loop to match this one. So I've just looped the balloon over. I'm using my fingers to match, but I'm also comparing the 2 loops. I put a little twist in that, and then I'll compare, and those are close enough. So I'll carry on twisting, okay? And then make a 3rd loop to match these. So again, quick comparison, check with the fingers, and then just twist. And I tend to twist once, and then just compare again, and then twist again. When I've got 3 loops, I like to start to just swap them around, trade places one with the other, and that just locks them all together and means that they are going to make it more difficult for them to come unravelled. And then we want to make a 4th loop, okay? So 4 fingers and twist, okay? And then just wrap that in with some of the other petals, and that's what we've got at the moment. And then I'm going to make 1 more loop, 4 fingers, and then just measure, and then twist, and check, twist some more, and then just wrap that in with the other petals. Okay. and then just arrange everything. I'm fully inflated at the end, so I'm just going to twist off a bit of excess at the end, so an uninflated section. I'm holding onto this and I'm just going to snip a little hole, and then I'm slowly going to let out the air. If you do that too quickly when you're fully inflated, you can just pop everything and end up with not as much slack here as you would like. And then I'm going to tie a knot here in the normal way, okay? Now, one thing you can do, you don't actually have to tie that knot. You can take, instead of tying, or even as well as, you can take this bit of slack and just wrap it around these loop twists lots of times, and that can very often save you the need to tie a knot. Okay, so the latex likes to stick to the latex, and then I'm just cutting off that little bit of excess. Okay, and we've got a 5-petal flower. Take a 260 and inflate to almost a 2 to 3 finger tail. Now, I didn't actually count how many pumps I was doing there, how many strokes of the hand pump, but you can check. You've got two fingers there, okay? And then just let a little bit of air out and tie. So when I first started twisting, I always obsessed with the videos that I was watching. I was always obsessing and thinking how many strokes of the hand pump do I need to do for that bubble and for the next bubble, and it gets very difficult to remember. The more designs and models that you learn how to make, it gets difficult to remember how many strokes of the hand pump you need for a particular design. So it's good practice to start maybe just remembering what kind of tail that you need, or not worrying about it. You can always add in another balloon if you've not got enough, or let a little bit of air out if you've got too much. So take the knot and nozzle and wrap that in to your flower. So just pull that knot and nozzle tightly in the flower and wrap around. Okay, so that's what you've got. And then what we can do is part way down, we've got quite a lot of balloon here. So you can shock twist here just by massaging, and that's going to make your flower just have this kind of almost right angle here, so that it's looking straight on at you. And we just want to make a couple of loops here. So I'm going to make a loop there. Again, the way we made our balloon dog. So just wrap that in and make another loop to match this one. Okay? And then just twist. Okay? That goes around. And then you can position the stem going through the middle of the balloons, these two loops, and the stem coming out through the top. And I like to just massage or shock twist the ends of the flower petal, just so they point upwards a little bit. And the other thing you can do is just slightly push those two petals together, and that will make this part of the daisy stand more upright. Next, I just want the tip of a balloon. So as you make more designs and models, you'll find you cut bits off, and we like to save the tips, and we can use these little bits of excess, or scraps as we call them, within our designs. So this 260 I've used for some other design, and I've just been left with this section of a couple of inches, and I just need to put a little bit of air into that. Okay, so I only want a little bubble of a couple of fingers. So what I'm going to do is just twist off a small bubble and then let the air out from what's left, and then tie. Okay, so that's what I've got. Then I'm just going to wrap that bubble and tip into my flower, and I'm going to cut off this little bit of excess here. I'm just going to cut that off. Okay, and then you've got a really pretty balloon daisy flower. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember to give it a like and remember to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future balloon twisting lessons for beginners, and I'll see you again in the next lesson.